The first sign that anything had happened in this close-knit community in Hainault in north-east London was at 10 to 7 yesterday morning, when neighbours reported hearing desperate and blood-curdling screams from Lang close behind me. It transpired that a man driving a van had come round the corner at heavy speed, crashed into a pedestrian before crashing into a house. Neighbours said that they went to go and check on the man who had crashed, but he got out carrying a 2-foot ornamental sword, which he then used to attack a schoolboy, 14 years old, leaving his home to head for his day at school. Neighbours described seeing the young boy sitting in a 6-foot pool of blood as he lay on the floor, while officers and police who arrived just 12 minutes after they were first called at 6:54 a.m. desperately tried to revive him. Sadly, there was nothing they could do.
When I left the house, I locked up, and as soon as I turned over, he approached me and he was asking if he was basically saying, "Where are we? What's the address?" Once I told the address, he sort of moved closer towards me. He put his foot on my foot, so I couldn't back off. And then that's when he drew out the sword, and it was arm's length. It was honestly petrifying. I just ran. Once we called the police, as soon as I put the phone down, when I looked up, I saw my neighbour, the young boy, coming out of his house to go to school. So at first, my instinct was to just shout and wave at him, which is what me and another neighbour did. But because he had just put his headphones on, I don't think he heard either of us. And yeah, and then it was sort of a moment where we just went from shouting to just blankness, you know, just felt empty. Because someone's life just got taken right in front of us. So.
The man, who was 36, then fled with the sword still in hand down towards a garden area with some garages where he climbed atop them, still with a rabble of police officers in pursuit. It was at that point officers shouted at residents on the nearby Thurlow Gardens to lock their doors to make sure the man, who had earlier issued crazed shouts of "Do you believe in God?" could not get through their back doors.
Drop the sword! Oi! He's going in people's gardens, man. Lock your doors! Everyone lock your doors!
The man charged along the garden area, and it's understood from talking to neighbours and locals on Thurlow Gardens he may have tried to climb over somebody's gate to get onto their garage, where he was then met with a wall of police officers who shot him with 2 50,000-volt tasers in footage captured by a doorbell camera. Police first addressed the incident at around 11 a.m. yesterday, where they said that many people, 5 people in fact, including 2 police officers, had been injured in the rampage. This morning we learnt that some of the injuries to those cops are very serious indeed. One of them, Mark Rowley, said almost had her hand cut off, and he said it was a testament to how police run towards danger instead of running away.
We were on the ground in 12 minutes and he was detained after 22 minutes. Obviously, some of the first contacts led to officers being very severely injured.
What can you tell us about the extent of the injuries, Samar?
I mean, we talk, don't we? People say sort of officers run towards danger. What you've actually seen on some of the videos that are out sort of around social media and on news sites such as your own, you actually see what that really looks like. You've got officers running towards someone who's waving a sword. I went to the hospital yesterday and to see the officers and their families. I saw the inspector whose hand's badly damaged. I saw him before the operation. He was in good spirits. I think that was partly the morphine, to be honest.
Right, okay.
But he's got sort of a lot of patching up to be done on his hand, really serious injuries there. and I was talking to the family and colleagues of the officer, woman officer who's really badly damaged arm, really seriously damaged, and the surgeon spent sort of many hours sort of basically putting her arm back together. It's going to be a long journey of recovery.
One newspaper said of the female officer it was close to her actually losing her hand. Are you able to confirm that?
That's not a million miles away. I mean, it's really horrifically serious injuries.
It's understood another one of the injured is at least one of the residents on Lang Close who attempted to assist the driver, believing that what they had witnessed was a straightforward motor vehicle accident. After he was arrested, locals on Thurlow Road said the police wrapped the man in a black protective sheet in order to restrain him. However, he continued resisting until he was eventually bundled into the back of a police van by as many as 6 or 7 police officers who all surged towards the threat. The man this morning is still being kept under guard at a local hospital. His injuries are still too severe for him to be interviewed. He has been officially arrested but not yet charged. Behind me in Lang Close, around a dozen police officers, including forensics teams and sniffer dogs, are still scouting the area for any evidence there may be. In the immediate aftermath of the incident yesterday morning, there was a range of medical equipment and a chair that could be seen in the street, where some of the injured were treated on the scene by paramedics. The suspect's van, which was left here until around 11:30 last night, has now been removed. Footage posted on social media showed it being towed away. It's unclear where that van is being taken. However, you would think it would make quite a considerable part of the evidence in this case as police investigate exactly what has gone on.
Home Secretary, appalling scenes on the streets of London yesterday, but scenes of absolute heroism from our police. Can I get a reaction to that?
Yes, well, look, the terrible loss of life, particularly of a child, is always awful. But the police acted swiftly, responded quickly, and the officers displayed huge bravery in confronting an armed person on the streets of London. I've had an update from the Commissioner of the Met Police on those officers who were injured, and I have so much admiration for their decisiveness and their courage in light of what has happened.
How is it that someone can roam the streets of London with a blade of that size? Kemi Badenoch this morning said that you're looking at further restrictions on sale of swords. Is that?
Well, we've already put a whole range of legislation in place. There's more coming through in the Criminal Justice Bill with regard to weapons, particularly zombie knives. Of course, it is already illegal to carry a bladed weapon like that on the streets. But as I say, the response from the police was incredibly swift, but the tragedy is heartbreaking.
Sadiq Khan, Mayor of London, said to critics that saying that machete crime was out of control in London had been watching too much Wire.
Look, I've publicly been critical of what I believe to be a failure of the mayor to take violent crime in London seriously enough. I think comments like that betray an unwillingness to be really honest about the increase in knife crime in London. Across the whole of the country, it has trended downwards, but London, it has increased by something in the region of 20%. This is something that I've raised with him directly, and hearing those comments, as I say, in my mind, reinforce the fact that he is not focusing on the things that he, as Mayor of London, as the Police and Crime Commissioner for London, should be concentrating on.